Today, my topic of discussion is about future, roadmap of future. What kind of global economic order? What kind of global political international economic order? What kind of industrial roadmap of the future? What are going to be international balance of power, global institutions, post-pandemic or during the pandemic? There are several indicators right now, but I can very well imagine that a lot of things are still, not clear, but they are lying in the lap of time, still unfolded. But one thing is very clear that the international political and economic order is facing tremendous challenges from inside countries, from outside countries. The economic shutdowns, global slowdowns cascaded by the pandemic, the loss of economic activities, the delay in arrival of credible vaccine and therapeutic things, and then taking advantage of certain things internationally, the kind of irresponsibility of certain nations for not openly coming out what went wrong with them, how the pandemic emerged, how it was allowed to spread, why the WHO was not timely informed, and how WHO was influenced not to tell to the world very simple thing, which means human to human transmission of the disease. Even an ordinary doctor will say that a disease, a viral disease, with having symptoms of pneumonia and all that, with the cough and all that, can be easily transmitted from human to human. In our Indian system, even when somebody has a cold, sore throat, if he's sneezing, yeah, people are advised to stay away a little bit because it can spread like that. This simple medical proposition was not understood for the reasons best known to them, and then locking the particular city for internal control on the spread of disease, and then allowing international flights to go on. So in a way, it seems to be very doubtful what was the role of that country. And then comes the post UN pandemic declaration, the way things were kept secret, the way the evidences of the virus was washed away from the lab or from the Wuhan market. All these things indicate certain things, because if I am clean, I can understand that the virus could have been accidentally emerged from the lab also. Behind genetic theory, I do not suppose, because the wildlife eating and wildlife domestication is very much popular for centuries in that country. So the emergence of this virus all of a sudden from wildlife market is something, a concocted theory, a manufactured theory. But more doubt goes to the lab, where it might be an accident, and covering of that accident has gone very higher levels, just to defend the shame of not being able to control the virus. And then when there is a level 4 lab, when such highly critical viruses are being experimented, and the safety protocols and safety requirements, all these things are actually not possible in a normal way. And once any accident can happen, I don't say that I believe in conspiracy theories since beginning, but what was actually done post facto is something which is not a healthy sign of being a responsible country. I mean, fine, accident has happened. Let us admit that yes, the virus was accidentally leaked out and they have taken action against the individuals for their role of negligence and all that. And then what the measures the government took with regard to stoppage of the virus should have internationally been shared immediately, that please put the mask, don't visit to my country, because we have unfortunately had an accident where the virus has come out of the lab and it can infect the whole world, and it's a very serious virus. There is no remedy so far. These kind of narratives should have gone to the world, and the world could have been more protected and could have adopted more protective measures like mask and all that, because the entire world could not understand the magnitude of the spread of the virus and then its other complications. Even the genome was sequenced very early, but China did not share the sequencing of the genome immediately, and I mean it continuously kept everything very, very secretive. For what? I mean, these are, and then all of a sudden you are trying to browbeat countries who are demanding independent inquiries like Australia, and then you are threatening, you are trying to suppress certain democratic movements in Hong Kong, trying to expand your interest in South China, and then trying to create a kind of different relationship dynamics with neighboring countries of India, and then escalating the deployment of the force. And these all things do indicate that actually you are trying to use this situation for your own advantage without caring the emotional and human losses of mankind. See, the lakhs of the people have died. The most adverse sufferer is America. And then, you know, talking in a taunting way and then promoting a kind of different issues in a country to create internal divides, to support certain anti-fascist movement somewhere. All these things do not go with the principles of human civilization. We all have evolved together. We have been communist or capitalist or fascist or whatsoever ideology supporter. Later on, we are human beings first. And no such pandemic situation should be utilized for power gain or political gains. World is sad. We all are sad for watching every second humans are losing lives which could have been saved. On the one hand, rather joining the solidarity, joining the international cooperation to fight with COVID. Some countries are having these opportunities, are trying to have this opportunity as their expansionist goals actualized. Let me tell all of intellectuals of the world that there is a very simple saying, Satyameva Jayate. Truth is ultimate survivor. And truth is what? Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Only truth is beautiful, and only what is true, beautiful is actually God and in the interest of humanity. Ideological barriers have adversely impacted mankind so much, perhaps nothing. So this kind of political communism married with economic capitalism, having ambition of becoming the master of the world, is not an ideology even also. I love ideological principles, but it is not an ideology. The state is not withering away here. The state is trying to be a superpower. Where is the Marxism? You are crushing the aspirations of the people, democratic aspirations of the people. You are crushing the freedom of speech. You are making whistleblowers disappear from your society. You're not sharing your failures measures to control the virus, you are just thinking that because you are the master controller of the supply chain of economic activities of the world, being manufacturing hub, you have created enough wealth, enough liquidity. Now you are thinking that you can take on the world alone. Mr. X, understand, the entire weight of humanity is bigger than any superpower. Humanity has progressed like this. A lot of good and bigger kings have come and gone on the history of time, on the scale of time. It is better to be siding with the right things. Now the world needs international cooperation. Now the world doesn't need a military conflict. Now the world doesn't need suppression of people who have non-violent protests. I do not support arson, loot, vandalism, violence on the street. Yes, streets are to be dominated. Law and order is to dominate lawlessness. Let the law and order should rule the anarchy. Anarchy is not the rule, it is exception. Nobody has right or license to loot or do arson on the streets in the name of some ideology or in the name of certain grievances. There are enough institutional, structural, functional safeguards to air those grievances in rightful forums. And moreover, when you have a democratic setup, you are not supposed to walk like vandals, and then you expect that I should be held, I should be handled democratically with velvet gloves. Mr. X, believe in the philosophy of non-violence. You have right to protest, you should, for a rightful cause. Racialism is not something which can be tolerated by anybody, anywhere, anytime. You have right to air grievances. Black lives do matter, will always matter, should always matter. So all lives should matter, all property should matter. Law, rule of law should also matter. It's not that one evil is to be taken to the other evil. I'm dragging too much to those issues, but what I'm seeing is that American elections are around the corner. The aspirations of China in South China Sea, role of China with Hong Kong, denial of independent inquiries, loss of lives in Europe, and demand for a very fair and transparent role of WHO. These all things are actually cascading anti-Chinese feelings in the humanity. Loss of tens of thousands of people in United States is boiling American sentiments. And believe me, America is a knowledge power, medicine superpower, and still the military superpower of the world. It's still almost double of the Chinese economy. The technology king of the world, Europe and America, Japan. You just cannot take the simple advantage of pandemic and then try to show that let America should be involved in the racial riots, etc., we can, and then bribe the media, pump some money institutions to steal the technology, create anti-government stirs everywhere, and then create unrest everywhere, fund some political outfits, and then make sure that the governments are discredited and finally get a very, very favorable regimes. Sorry, it's very wishful thinking. Humanity understands the way you are like entering in the systems of the world like a termite. You are bribing influencers of policies, you are bribing the media, you are bribing outfits, you are promoting terrorism, you are promoting terrorist outfits, you are promoting religious radicals worldwide, and then you are trying to become a superpower. A basic precondition to be deserving to be called a superpower is that you must have respect for humanity. Humanity, dignified humanity, cannot be compromised by being economic superpower. You may be, But believe me, because world is importing from you, so you are in a manufacturing hub of the world. The moment the whole world will know that you are treacherous, you are actually having evil designs against the humanity, why I will import from you? Why the people will buy from you? After all, humanity is more ruled by the emotions than economics. There is a neurology of economics. When the world will know that each and every product he or she is buying actually funding the China, which is a epitome of evil empire, is expanding in the world to have a global designs, and then that too being irresponsible, autocratic, repressive of human rights, repressive of human dignities, no one will buy your product. Believe me, people's agitations against you will be costlier to you than regime agitations. So what I can think is that because of these scenarios, the hatredness developing against China, because it is not showing the transparency, accountability and responsibility to the sentiments of the globe with regard to narrating the sequences in which virus emerged and how the virus was handled, this anger, sorrowness of the world is going to influence the next decade of the economics, international economics. There may be alliances already D10, already G7 is being expanded. So Europe cannot go against democratic values. Europe cannot be supporter of China, which is a communist and against the human rights and against the free speech. If you think that you are very strong, why don't you open your society? Why don't you open Google, Facebook, YouTube? Let your people should interact with the global community at par. And then if you have a weight in your system, it will hold on. And that is the beauty of democracy. A democratic society doesn't want to have a bamboo curtain, an iron curtain. It's open society. Okay, come and criticize the government. Come and rebuke the government. Government is not going to be like, holding a bullet in his hand to shut your mouth. And that is the beauty of democracy. In democracy, rule of law is there, not rule of elite. Till his pleasure. As a student of political science, I always find that human history has always been shaped by good forces. Bad forces persisted for a while, but ultimately they were defeated by the good forces. So Satyame ho jayate. So what I believe that in the coming times, economic order may be like this. The global supply chain of production will be shifted to respective countries. Critical supply chain will not be allowed to be offshored. Countries will focus on their economic revivals because the job losses they have suffered because of manufacturing base shifted from these countries to other countries. They will try to regain them because they understand that the supply chain and the local manufacturing economy is critical for emergency situations like this. Many countries were helpless even for a mask and ventilators and PP kits because everything was being outsourced and imported from a country. Now every country understands the critical industrial supply chain and manufacturing activity must be within the boundaries of the country. Otherwise, it's like selling your sovereignty. You can be blackmailed. You will not have that independence because some country will be controlling the manufacturing base, supply chain can actually blackmail you. So even country like America has started thinking to control the supply chain. But there are certain tertiary activities which might be shifted from these countries which have otherwise gone to China, may be coming to other countries. As Mr. Parag Khanna says that American continent has huge supply of raw material, manpower in Brazil, Mexico. So some less technology items, hard manufacturing items may be shifted for needs of American continent in these American countries. Similarly, Europe may be, in general, may be having a critical supply chain of many things manufactured in the European boundaries. Similarly, Japan, Australia, all. And then certain things which otherwise can be grabbed because of better relationships, better ideological synchronizations with the global community, especially the democratic setups. The countries like India, which is not dependent on only export-oriented market, but internal market demand is too much to sustain the economy, will be actually benefited, because the moment India stops its imports from countries like China, the local demands will be met by local manufacturing sectors. And even if the global supply chain is not shifted to India, still the India's own supply chain demand ecosystem, if are well gelled in the Indian territory itself, the might of 140 crore people can run any manufacturing sector to the hilt. So I feel that the way the China is behaving, the Indian dependence on China will be gradually diminished, and India will like to create its own manufacturing and supply chain of activities, will be shifting to the friendly countries, and that will be the way India is going to emerge, and a global international economic order will be where the America led one, and exceptions and some, it's like role reversals, like the fascist regime of the Second World War, which were supporting the evil empire, or the Axis powers, will be having some limited base in some countries, having terrorist havens, will be led by an evil empire, Axis power, China, and then the US. But because South China being a hub of so many resources under the sea, oil and gas, China will try to capture that, and USA will not tolerate that. And in that process, I fully visualize that South China Sea expansion can be a trigger of global conflict. So this post-COVID, if China doesn't behave responsibly, if China tries to expand its designs in South China Sea aggressively, so there may be a situation of conflict straight away China with USA, and definitely countries like India will support USA and Australia too. Even if Europe doesn't join, Japan will equally be interested. So that is one flashpoint. So I now think that China is trying to trigger, instigate neighbors of India to engage India, and then on the boundaries, China is playing a hide and seek role. It is preferring to talk, but trying to escalate the army deployments, creating a very, very difficult situation for the governments. And then in the South China Sea, it has certain designs which otherwise was tolerated by Trump, because Trump was more focused to the American economy, but now he fully understands that American economic strength, supported by its international superpower position, is what America likes, what Americans like. And in that situation, now he is not going to tolerate the Chinese domination on Hong Kong or the South China Sea. Now Trump is going to have economic nationalism inside and American supremacy globally outside, where India is going to be the reliable political, strategic, economic power, and this is going to be the truth, and Japan will also join in that way. So my design is that, barring a few countries which has a different kind of internal problems or failed states, only failed states will join the Chinese friendship. Not a successful state will join the China, because China is inherently undemocratic, violator of human rights, violator of so many things. So Chinese system cannot be acceptable to a democratic society. Democratic cultures do not like that. China cannot amend itself until unless China goes the way Gorbachev led to USSR. It will take time, because affluence needs freedom. China cannot make its population affluent by inviting the global manufacturing hub, and then creating better per capita income, because the prosperity brings more demand for democracy. So this is a paradox which China will face sooner or later. The marriage of political communism with economic capitalism is an impossible combination, and I'm sure that this will disbalance each other, and people, the China will be defeated by the people inside, because they will not like a cattle kind of treatment from the state. So this is what the vision I am thinking the globe will have. In the next lecture, I will be taking some different topic. Till then, bye bye. Please give your comments. This is an academic discussion. This is an intellectual discussion. I would like your comments, which will inspire me, encourage me to make more such videos for your consumption, academic consumption. Thank you very much. Have a good night.